We have our next speaker. Edgar is with us today. Edgar is interested in a lot of things that the CCC is also interested in: the right to repair, privacy, digital sovereignty, accessibility, and all these topics. To really get anywhere, you require close and personal collaboration with end users. You know that a lot of organizations around the CCC try to engage people and teach them about all these topics. And there's also an opportunity in this space for small businesses, because big tech is not interested in right to repair. Big tech doesn't care about digital sovereignty, but small businesses like Edgar's do. And he will tell us about his experiences running a small MVNO in Spain. Welcome.
Welcome. So thank you for the introduction. I have to say that this is my first talk at Congress, and I'm a bit nervous. So probably I will be reading the screen, so my apologies for that. I like computers since I was a kid. I started working as a computer technician at 20. I love to fix things, and I discovered GNU Linux many years ago, and I really like its philosophy. And I'm also concerned about people's privacy. So life takes many turns, and you never know what you will be doing in the next 5 years. So it happened to me that I ended starting up an MVNO. This MVNO is called Lliure Telecom. Lliure in Catalan means free, as in freedom. And well, I decided that name because I feel that I wanted to provide more data privacy to my users, also support free software, and defend the right to repair. In this way, giving more digital sovereignty to the people. So at the end of this talk, you will know the basic concepts on how to start up an MVNO in Spain and how to do business while taking care of your values. So first of all, to know what an MVNO is, we have to explain what an MNO is. So it's a mobile network operator that provides mobile services to end users and have a government license to use its own radio frequency, so it has its own radio infrastructure. And MVNO stands for Mobile Virtual Network Operator, and it's the same but without radio frequencies. So they use the radio infrastructure of an MNO. I'm sure that you know the brands. So, OMR in Spanish stands for Operador Móvil con Red, and OMV stands for Operador Móvil Virtual. So the government only differentiates between full and light MVNOs. They don't consider white label brands, so they fall under the light MVNO category. In Spain, there are like 900 light MVNOs registered license with the government and about 40 full MVNOs. Oops, here. So here we have all the responsibilities of an MNO, but depending on your MVNO level, you will only have some of them. As you can see, as a light MVNO, there are some that can be provided by your supplier or not. And as a full MVNO, you have them all except the radio network. So it's interesting to say that when we have control of the core network, then we can do email tracking. Recently, it was published on a newspaper that the local government of the city of Tarragona, that it's my city, got an agreement with the operators to get the location of all the foreign IMEI numbers. They said they wanted to get some statistics about the location of the tourists. So, you know, maybe it's true, or maybe not. Or maybe they want to know more things. About numbering, it's worth to say that to be able to have numbers allocated at your name as an MVNO, and to make portabilities, it is needed to be an associate of the AOPM, that is the Association of Operators for Mobile Portability. Also, regarding to legal interception, if you are a light MVNO, you will never know if there is any tapping requirements. With terminal and SIM management, you can send silent SMSs to configure different parameters of the SIM card and manage forwarding calls or enable or disable roaming or other settings. So, legal requirements. You have to register with the CNMC, Operators Registry, and CNMC stands for National Commission of Markets and Competition, and it's the organism that will regulate your activity. You have to apply for a license with the government, and it will take 15 days to get an answer. This is mandatory, but I recently found out that there are some businesses that are reselling without it. And it was funny because I got an email from a supplier that told me that I could sell mobile insurances to my customers, but I couldn't do it if I was registered with the CNMC. So it was like, okay, I'm doing things right, and I cannot sell this. I still don't know why, but this is how I discovered that all the others that they can sell these insurances, they are not registered with the CNMC, with the government. So, so this is illegal, but you know, Spain is different, they say. So you will need to send some administrative documentation and some technical documentation. The latter, they call it telecommunications project. And in that project, you have to reflect how you will offer the services you want to offer. These are some of the services, but there are more. They use a specific terminologies, and it's hard to get information about them. Maybe more if you need them, or if you need them to offer whatever services you want to offer. So if you try to look for the meanings of these services, well, you will find some on the internet, but it's really hard to get the information. Oops. Oh, yes. On November 23, 2023, 1 year after the new law entered into force, the government published a blog post with a PDF guide pointing each service with its corresponding law. But it's still hard to get information you need for the project because you have to read the law, and we are not lawyers. And I tried it, but it's a really, really, really long document, and you get lost with all the things that they say. So at least they published this blog post that somehow helps you a little bit. So then there are MVNO enablers. Enablers do not provide public telecom services. They have no contact to the end users and are not subject to the telecom regulation. Some full MVNOs are also MVNO enablers, and they will happily help you for a reasonable amount of money. I know that you can also get your license with a copy-paste if you get a project of another MVNO. Also, if you try to automate as much as you can and have only one payroll, you can get black numbers with more or less 1,000 or 2,000 subscribed lines, depending on if there are more mobiles or fibers. So, okay, now we have our license. Now we need suppliers, and some of them will ask you to trademark your brand and logo with the OEPM, that is the Spanish Office of Patents and Marks, and they ask you to do that because they want to avoid SPN conflicts. SPN is the name of the network. Is the network name that appears on your mobile with the brand. But on the other side, other suppliers let you choose it per subscriber line. So it's a little bit a controversy that some of them force you to trademark the brand, and some others just let you put wherever you want or the customer want onto the ESPN line. So, mobile coverage. This is probably not a problem in cities, but it is important in small towns, and rural zones, because you can find if you only have one supplier, and then there is no coverage or there is bad coverage on that town, you will have trouble with that customers. So it's better to have more than one suppliers to be able to fulfill that need, to don't have these problems. So also MNOs have coverage maps on their websites. Unfortunately, they use Google Maps, but I found out that they are not accurate because they say that they have coverage on a small town, but there isn't, so it's really frustrating. So at the end, I have to ask to the customer if they know what coverage is good for them on that location. Regarding fiber coverage, this is more accurate. There are tools to check coverage, but not all providers have the full coverage. Have full coverage on the city, so if you want to sell a service, you have to be sure that you can sell that service everywhere. So it's good to have more than one supplier, also because of that. Then, with eSIM, I couldn't sell lines with eSIM since probably a year ago. Suppliers had a small adoption of eSIM, and actually, you cannot sell eSIM to customers that have Apple Watches, neither with Samsung smartwatches. They told me, the suppliers told me that it's a royalties problem with Apple, and I guess that Samsung just followed what Apple did. And this is a little bit annoying, but you know, this is premium hardware, premium service, so premium price. You have to go there. At least I'm having good prices with roaming with international eSIM. Regarding tariffs, some suppliers give you the tariffs because they have a white label brand and don't want you to compete with them, but others let you set the price, giving you more margin. Also, the suppliers have mobile applications that are provided and needed by the customers to see the data volume. Otherwise, they will call you, and you have to check on their backend system. These applications sometimes they are for free, or depending on the supplier, they charge you a monthly fee until you have a certain number of lines with them. And also APIs. This is very important. That make sure that all your suppliers have APIs and give you access to them, because you will need them as you grow. And another important thing for me is that this is why the title of this slide is "I move a lot with feelings." Well, this and because my values, because I believe in I made Libre Telecom with my values. So I found it happened to me that a provider, a supplier, I had a contract with them to sell services, and I had a good margin. But suddenly, without any call, they started to sending me mails to sign for a contract. And I didn't read the contract. I just waited for some days to get a call, maybe. I was busy with life and other things, so I just waited and waited, and they kept sending emails with the contract. So I finally read it, and then I was like, what the fuck? They are changing my conditions. They are sending me this mail to sign it up without calling and without explaining me. So I didn't like it, and I didn't answer, neither signed the contract. So at the end, they called me, and in a very bad way, they told me that I had to sign the contract, because if not, they will think about what to do with small MVNOs. So, well, I didn't like that. So you have to be careful which suppliers you choose. At the end, I decided to not sign up more customers with that supplier. They didn't did anything, so I'm still working with them. I guess that they cannot cancel my contract, so I'm okay with that. Also, another thing that happened that is that, you know what, when you open a website and see that feel and look from 10 or 15 years ago when PHP was emerging, and it's like rusty, and so I found a supplier that had his backend like this, and it was also he had also good margins, and I decided to try them with a few customers. But one day they sent me an email that they were ransomware. So that was really funny. I had some I had one important customer with PBX with them. So luckily, I could make the portability of the DDI and change the provider, the supplier, and everything, well, almost I could survive the situation. I mean, so that's another important thing, because also they asked me for to pay a month in advance. That it's something that nobody does these days, nowadays. And well, I just decided just to try them, and at the end, I got all the services to another supplier. So I think that this is important also. Okay, so now we have suppliers, we can start to work, and then we will get support calls. So customers contact me by phone, can contact me by phone, by email, or unfortunately, mostly WhatsApp. These are the standard support calls that can be solved directly in the backend, but the last two must be escalated to the supplier. So, call routing issues. Once I had a call from a customer with Orange coverage who could not call her sister. Not my customer, with Movistar coverage. Also, she couldn't call to a landline of a shop. So I opened a ticket with the supplier, and they solved the call routing landline problem in 24 hours. But they answered that the mobile problem is with Movistar, and that the sister should open a call routing ticket with Movistar. So an MNO with millions of customers, so have good luck doing that. They closed the ticket, and of course I suggested my customer to change to a different supplier, which I knew had Orange coverage in her location. She agreed and problem solved. These kind of problems happen to me not so often, but enough to put them here, because I think this is important. They have the duty to do that. So just to announce the numberings between the different MVNOs and MNOs. So mobile voice or data massive incidents can be nightmares, and there is a reason to split risk having more than one supplier. This is important also, because I'm all alone. I'm just only one, so I couldn't afford to get a massive incident with all of my customers. So I'm lucky that I have different suppliers.
Bienvenidos a la traducción al español de la charla.
Internet is not working. First, I asked to check the lights of the CPE, then maybe restart the CPE, then ask if they are on Wi-Fi, and if it's not working, I ask to open a terminal, sometimes. If that doesn't work, I open a ticket with the supplier, and depending on which one, the technician goes the next day or in 24 hours. They are really fast because the customers are entitled to compensation for outages. They don't know, but they are entitled. After one customer outage, the customer called me and said, my dog ate my fiber. So the dog ate the fiber patch cord. And another customer got really angry because of an outage. And after sending the technician, I found out that the problem was that the customer used the fiber patch box as a footrest.
Bienvenidos a la traducción al español de cómo seguir los propios sentimientos en la trastienda de un operador de móvil y fibra en España que se lanzó a la arena como espontáneo. Hemos tenido varios problemas técnicos, así que hoy estaremos traduciendo solamente las preguntas y respuestas al final de la charla. Nuestras más sinceras disculpas.
Fixed price, every month is the same amount, except for the first and the last months. Mobile has fixed base price.
Si tienen cualquier pregunta, pueden dirigirla al canal de Signal. Y si tienen cualquier tipo de feedback, pueden usar el hashtag C3Lingo. Muchas gracias.
Invoices. This is a little bit of work, but there is hope. To choose a billing system, I had some functional and technical requirements to be accomplished. After looking at 5 different CRM systems, I chose Dollybar, and it meets all my requirements. So so for those who don't know, Spai XML is really important because it's the file that must be generated for you to send it to your bank for they execute the debit. I don't know the word, I'm sorry, but I think that you get it. Also, recurrent invoices, it's really important, and batch invoice mailing, of course. So the plan is to develop a Dolivar module sometime in the future, which integrates the supplier's APIs with the Dolivar APIs to automatically generate invoices and to publish the source. So I created an MVNO that take care of users' privacy because there are no cookies on the website. I use no tracking images on the emails. All the internal systems are self-hosted, and I only share data with suppliers. And I swear that I will never sell my data customers. So I only use free software for all the related tasks. Wherever I can, I repair to reuse, and I'm also collaborating with thegoogled.s that sell Android phones without Google. And in collaboration with the local hack lab, we do talks on social entities, install Linux and fix things. I give back to the free software projects in form of documentation, bug reports, and also with small monetary donations. But the plan is to do more as I grow. So thank you. So the plan is to do more as I grow. So maybe I can get a lawyer to push suppliers to take more care of my customers' data, or maybe invest money to achieve greater adoption of free software. There is a thing that I would like a lot to see, that is organic maps running on cars. You know, when you get into your car and you just plug your phone, you have to use the software that they want you to use. But I would like to use organic maps, so it would be nice to invest on that. Maybe bundle mobile and fiber lines with the Google phones, and whoever knows, maybe I can become a full MVNO in the future and have control of my customers' devices network. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edgar. Before we get to the Q&A, I would like to offer an apology to those who were watching in the stream. There were some hiccups with the translations initially, but thanks to the work for Angels, this was resolved in the interim. Now,
Parece que hubo algunas dificultades técnicas con el sistema de traducción, pero eso fue resuelto gracias a los ángeles, a los voluntarios. Tenemos algunas preguntas, no veo a nadie preparado en los micros. ¿Alguna vez has pillado a gente realizando un fraude en tu operadora, como gente mandando spam? Como gente haciendo spam desde tu operadora. No es algo que no he encontrado porque realmente no lo puedo saber. Estoy utilizando la red como una operadora de móvil virtual, pero yo no puedo saber si hacen spam o no.
How do you handle know your customer laws? So the EU is those regulations.
¿Cómo sigues las leyes de conoce a tu cliente, esas regulaciones?
For verifying the identity of your customers safe.
¿Y qué data puedes tener para saber quiénes son tus clientes? El cliente tiene que identificarse mandando su DNI, su carta, su pasaporte. carta de identidad.
I have a supplier, only
Pero
one,
tengo un proveedor, solo uno, que tiene
some kind of facial recognition system.
algún tipo de sistema de reconocimiento facial.
I do the sign up. I asked
Así que cuando el cliente se inscribe,
send them a link.
entonces les mando un link por SMS o email y ellos tienen que subir sus documentos de identidad.
But
Y esto es el tipo de verificación.
I can override this.
Puedo suprimir esto simplemente sin usarlo.
To just send a contract to the customer to
Porque también hay la opción de mandar un contrato al cliente para que lo firme y simplemente adjuntar el documento de identidad. Gracias.
Number 4, please.
Micrófono número 4. Hola y felicitaciones. A lo mejor puedo comprar una SIM. Te puedo comprar una SIM. Soy de Portugal. Y no sé si hay alguna operadora móvil virtual funcionando allí. En un nivel diferente, en el nivel de operadora de red móvil, ¿hay alguna operadora funcionando a nivel europeo?
I'm not sure if I understand your second question.
No estoy seguro si entiendo tu segunda pregunta. La primera, no sé nadie que esté haciendo esto, que funcione como yo
The second question.
en Portugal. Cuando estás haciendo una operadora móvil virtual, quieres ser justo y libre, pero dependes en la infraestructura en otro operadora. ¿Sabes si hay alguien que a nivel europeo esté pensando en esto?
If I am aware that
La pregunta es que si
do like me in Europe,
sé de alguien que haga lo mismo que yo en Europa.
I don't know.
No conozco a nadie que haga esto, lo mismo que yo hago.
The internet has another question.
The internet is pointing out that the telecommunication
El Internet está recalcando que los servicios de comunicación en España son mucho más baratos que en Alemania. ¿Sabes por qué?
Probably the fact that there are
Bueno,
MVNOs
probablemente la razón sea que hay 900 operadoras. No sé cuántas hay en Alemania, pero creo que son 40 y algo.
on the last 5 years,
En los últimos 5 años, al menos con un proveedor,
happening is that
lo que pasaba
their prices and just
era que estaba manteniendo sus precios y subiendo la cantidad de datos que los clientes tenían disponibles.
a lot.
Y esto está creciendo mucho.
Yes, maybe the prices got cheaper, but they were the same.
Quizá los precios se han abaratado.
Got more gigabytes.
No se han abaratado, sí se han mantenido los mismos, pero ahora tienes más datos, más gigas.
Thanks for the talk. Interesting information.
Muchas gracias por la
Just to
charla,
my
interesante. Para
Is
entenderlo
a
bien,
customer from you matched to one supplier?
¿hay algún, cada cliente se corresponde con un proveedor específico o hay reglas aleatorias de
Yes.
y si un cliente no está contento, puedes cambiarlo de proveedor? En la comisión
Doesn't consider white label brands
no considera las marcas blancas
fall under the light MVNO type
porque
of,
caen
under the light type of
como
MVNO.
la MNO ligera. Se consideran como MNO ligeras.
Sorry, what was the question?
So basically,
Disculpas, ¿puedes repetir la pregunta?
which supplier he gets, and is it a fixed
Cuando alguien se registra, se da de alta contigo, ¿eres tú el que elige el proveedor o es el cliente?
it's a customer of you, and you decide which supplier he gets?
So I decided to have
Yo decidí
one supplier for each coverage.
que iba a tener un proveedor distinto para un proveedor por cada servicio. Entonces, dependiendo de lo que el cliente desea, voy a elegirlo por ellos, salvo que ellos me especifiquen. Ellos también me pueden decir, bueno, yo estoy viviendo en la ciudad, así que prefiero el proveedor más barato. Si quiero cambiar el servicio de un proveedor, tengo que hacer una portabilidad del número de un proveedor a otro. Muchas gracias. El micrófono 6. Gracias por la charla. ¿Eres tú el que diriges solo la empresa? ¿Y cuántos clientes tienes? Menos de 1000 clientes. Vale, interesante. Gracias.
And microphone number 4.
Y en el micrófono 4, gracias por la charla. ¿Cuál es tu opinión sobre proveedores de eSIM anónimos? ¿Estás planeando anonimidad completa? Disculpa, ¿puedes repetir la pregunta? Hay proveedores de eSIM anónimos. Los clientes no tienen por qué identificarse en absoluto. ¿Cuál es tu opinión? ¿Quieres moverte hacia este tipo de modelo? Este problema lo tenemos con un mal uso de la tecnología. Entonces, en España, por lo menos el gobierno en España, después de ciertos ataques de ciertas bombas, después de estos atentados empezaron a exigir que la gente se identificara. Debo confesar que tengo algunos proveedores que no verifican nada. Así que si un cliente me envía un carnet de identidad y simplemente hay una correspondencia entre los nombres declarados y el carnet, ellos no se quejan. Me imagino que estos proveedores que estás mencionando no están no están situados o domiciliados en la Unión Europea. No, en efecto. Podríamos hacer más preguntas, pero no vemos nadie en los micros y en Internet tampoco hay nadie. Vamos a agradecer a Edgar. Quizá en algunos años nos puedes contar qué es lo que pasó después de esta charla, si pudiste conseguir tus objetivos o si te llegaron muchos marrones. Bueno, voy a hablar unos minutos más. Hay un proyecto que se llama Camera Project. Y tengo que indagar un poquito más, pero me pareció interesante mencionarlo, porque es una especie de alianza bajo el paraguas de la Fundación Linux y embarca a casi todos los OERs de Europa y están fabricando una API gigantesca para obtener los datos de los clientes y el estado de las líneas y de las terminales y toda la información que es importante para tus móviles. A mí me parece que esto es algo muy peligroso, porque no me queda claro quién va a estar usando esta API. Así que tengo que indagar un poquito más. No puedo decir gran cosa, pero quería dejarlo sobre la mesa.
Thank you.
Bien, muchísimas gracias.